Hey, it's John at Tinderbox Arts. I'm here with my R1200 RT, and I'm starting to prepare to leave in a few days on my 4th long-distance cross-country trip. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about what and how I pack for such a trip. Now, before we talk about what I bring and where I put it, let me really define what I mean by a cross-country trip. Now, this trip I'm about to take is pretty typical, so I'll be looking at something between 6,500 and 7,000 miles, and I'll be doing that in 14 days of riding. Typically, I spend 10 to 12 hours a day on the road on the bike. Now, viewers from the UK and other areas may not be aware of just how big the United States is. It's huge. So I happen to live over here in New Jersey, which is a densely populated area, and I'll be riding across here. I will be taking some highways just to get out of the densely populated areas, and I'm going to meet up with a friend this time in Kansas, and we'll be touring the Southwest, through Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, into California. We'll be clipping Nevada, into Utah, Colorado, and then back. So as far as what I pack for these trips, it's very important to be self-sufficient. Now, some people like to go on a trip and they say, they have a credit card and that's all they need. Well, that may not be the case in areas in the United States. If you're riding over here in a populated area, yeah, you could get away with that. But once you start getting into more rural areas in the Midwest, in the Southwest, up here as well, then there are areas where there isn't help coming if you need it. And what I mean by that is, you could go hours, half a day even, without seeing another car on the road. Many times there's no cell service at all, so you can't call somebody. So if something happens, you're on the side of the road and it's up to you to figure it out. Even when somebody may stop by, hours or half a day later, they may not be able to help or may be unwilling to help. So if you can't get out of a sticky situation, that's on you. Another important consideration about how to pack and what to pack is where you'll be riding. Now, this whole area right here is the Rocky Mountains, and there's significant elevation changes. So you could be riding, at sea level, and you could be riding at 11,000 feet. The difference in that elevation also is a difference in temperature. So your riding gear needs to prepare you to ride in very different temperatures. You might be riding in, 30, 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and you might be riding in 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Along the same lines, you need to be aware of weather. So, just recently, just before this trip in the Oklahoma and Texas area, there's been significant hailstorms, tornadoes, major rain. So there can be some really ugly weather, and you need to be prepared for that. Even if you're pulling over the side of the road, there's really no cover. You're out in the middle of nowhere, and if you're not prepared as far as your gear, it can be some pretty big trouble. So with that as background, how do I pack and what do I pack? Well, on the RT right here, I have available to me 2 side cases and a top box. And I also bring along dry bags, which are waterproof duffel bags essentially, that I can strap to the bike across the seat here. Additionally, there's a little bit of room under the seat for some minor things. And of course, we have this little area right here we can fit stuff in, a bottomless pit. It's hard to find things in there sometimes, but it's available. So let me cover these dry bags first, because this is easiest to understand. This is one example. I have 2 of them. Whether I bring 1 or 2 and stack them depends on the length of the trip. Now, what I keep in here is the stuff that I'll use in a hotel or motel, not things that I need, on the road when I'm actually riding. So these get strapped down to the bike. I can attach the straps to the bar here or to here. I've never had a problem with them coming loose. This particular brand I don't necessarily recommend, but any dry bag for camping gear or that kind of thing will work. Basically, the top here rolls down, and that's what keeps it waterproof. So if I'm on a 14-day trip, I'll bring 14 t-shirts, and I'll bring 1 pair of street pants, a pair of street shoes. I'll bring toiletries. In that kit, I will also include some over-the-counter medicines like ibuprofen, maybe an antihistamine, things like that. Now, the clothes would all fit in 1 dry bag. What does tend to put me over are the additional things I sometimes need to bring. So sometimes most of the time I need to bring a laptop so that I can check in with work and do some work at night. I also need to bring food, believe it or not. Many of these motels we stay at have nothing for breakfast, and there may not be anything around to go eat breakfast, I need to have food as soon as I get up. So I'll bring some packaged food with me in the dry bag so I have something to eat in the morning. And I'll also bring things like trail mix, granola bars, and that sort of thing, so I have something to eat at lunchtime. Usually at night, there's somewhere nearby I plan so we can grab a significant dinner. But during the day, sometimes I need food, and these rural areas that we're visiting, there's just nowhere to go get it. I will also keep in here a little bag of charging cables and a little USB charger that I can plug into the wall. So at night we need to charge up our communicators, our cameras if we're bringing those, our phones. So I have a little, charging cable bag basically that I keep in here as well. So the dry bags are for stuff that I use inside the hotel. I don't keep anything in here that I might need access to during the day. So let's turn our attention now to the side cases. These BMW side cases open from the side, not from the top, and that isn't always the most convenient thing. They lock pretty well. I've never had a problem with one coming open or anything like that, but access from the side can be a little tricky when you're on the side of the road. What I do is use these bags, which are designed to fit exactly inside those cases, so that when I open the side, I don't have stuff just falling out. Instead, this has access from the top, and I can jam all sorts of stuff into these bags, one for each side. These bags fit right into the side case, and if push comes to shove, I'm having trouble finding something or whatever, I can pull this whole thing out, and that gives me easier access. So the things I keep in these side cases and these bags are the items that I might need access to very quickly while I'm riding, on the side of the road or at a gas station or something like that. So for riding gear, I have two complete sets that I keep with me. One set I'm wearing on the bike, the other set is stored in one of the side cases. This one right here is my mesh gear. So like I said before, some of these areas we're going to be traveling, it could be well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot. You definitely need mesh gear. My other set is this Tourmaster jacket, which I actually did a review on. And this one might be called an adventure style jacket. It has extensive venting, so here in the front, in the back, in the arms, but it also closes all back up for warmth. And I also keep a pair of solid pants, no mesh here, and they are they're not waterproof, but they're water resistant, I'll say. If you have a light sprinkle, these will be okay. So I keep these with me as well. So I have these two complete sets with me. This one I will wear, definitely in the morning when I'm leaving, when the temperature is low. And I can wear this up to, 75, 80 degrees for sure. After that, it might get a little bit warm and I'll switch to the mesh gear. So while I'm wearing the mesh gear, this gets rolled up and stuck in a side case, and vice versa. Now to round out the pants and jacket, there are other accessories, I'll call them, that I wear as well. So these are neck gaiters, which are extremely important. A lot of people overlook this, but I don't ride without these anymore. So these, you just pull over your head. They're kind of a tube. You pull this over your head and it bunches around your neck. This serves a few different purposes. One, if it's cold, it keeps your neck a little bit warmer so you're not freezing. It also keeps the sun off of the back of your neck, because if you're riding 10 hours in sun, you're likely to get sunburn on the back of your neck. So this prevents that. And even when it's hot out, what I'll do is soak this in water, and that evaporates as you're riding and definitely helps keep you cooler. So this is an accessory I really can't live without. Now for gloves, I have a huge selection that I've purchased over the years, and depending on what I think I'm going to encounter on the trip, I'll pick different gloves. But I do bring a selection, some with venting, some not, and I'll talk about rain gear in a second, but I have a selection available to me, and these I keep sometimes in the side cases or sometimes in the top box, depending on how often I need to switch them. And moving down to the feet, you need waterproof boots. These are my favorite. They're made by TCX. They're no longer available, unfortunately. I'll get one more trip out of them, I think. But waterproof boots are absolutely critical. I only bring one pair, so this is all I have. So if these fail, I got a problem. Now, a mid-height boot is fine for what I'm doing. I'm really riding on street. Occasionally I'll get a dirt road, but I'm not on dirt trails or anything like that. Now, if you are doing that kind of thing, you're probably going to want a taller boot. But a mid-height boot like this, I think, is good compromise for road riding. Now, these don't get stored anywhere because I'm always wearing them when I'm on the bike. When I get to the hotel, I'll take them off and sometimes switch for my street shoes, but then they just stay in the hotel. All right, let's move on to rain gear. I have a very simple rain suit that I did a review on, actually. It's made by Tourmaster, and it served me very well. This would be my 4th cross-country trip with this exact rain suit here. So it has a jacket on top, very simple, some exterior pockets, but really nothing fancy about it. It does not have a hood, which can be used to put over your head, and then your helmet goes over the hood, and that helps keep rain from the back of your neck dripping down your back. But with the RT, there's such good weather protection, it just hasn't been a problem. So I stick with this jacket, and it has overpants as well. Both of these are designed to be worn over your regular riding gear. So if it starts to rain, I have these rolled up in a bag like this, in one of the side cases. I pick which side. Usually on the right side, and I will just quickly reach in, grab this, and you can put it on in a matter of a minute. And of course, this is also not just for staying dry, but for staying warm. So if you're on a bike for many hours in cold weather, you might choose to pull over and put the rain suit on, which helps protect you from the wind, and it does add quite a measure of warmth when you need it. Now for rain gloves, I can't say I'm perfectly satisfied, but you do need to bring something. So I have 2 options I'm bringing with me. One are these Aero Stitch, I call them lobster gloves because they don't really have individual fingers. I'm not super thrilled with these. I find them annoying and just difficult to use the controls when I have these on, but they do keep your hands dry. So these would be used over your existing riding gloves. I also have another option which I'll sometimes use, which are just very simple. They're like utility gloves, but they are waterproof. And I'm not sure how safe they would be in a crash, but at least they keep my hands dry. So that's another option I have. And finally, let me mention this, which is kind of a sub-layer. This is a bicycle jacket, actually. It's made by a company called Santic, and it's very thin. It does have kind of a fuzzy layer to it, but it's very thin, so it's easy to store almost anywhere. And this is something I will use as a layer when I get cold. So I might have a t-shirt on, it might be a long sleeve t-shirt, but it's a t-shirt. And then I might have the warmer jacket that I own over that. Sometimes that's just not warm enough, even with rain gear on top. So I can stick this on, and it's just a way to keep an extra layer available to me for warmth. I will also use this at the end of the day sometimes. You know, we'll be off the bike, maybe we're walking to a place to eat dinner, and I could put this jacket on at night just to keep warm as well. So this is a very flexible item that I can use in multiple ways. It's not expensive, and it's something I definitely recommend getting. Now, quick note about the helmet. You know, I used a full face helmet. It has all sorts of venting available to me, so it's good in most weather. But I will bring 2 different visors. Normally, I ride with this tinted visor to keep the sun out of my eyes, and in the daytime, this is usually good, even if it's cloudy. But sometimes you get really bad weather, or you need to ride at night for some reason, which I don't normally do. So I bring a clear visor with me, so I have both available to me. I will stick the clear visor in one of the side cases, and I can also use that as a backup. So if this tinted visor gets cracked or broken for some reason, I do have a backup. So that's it for riding gear. Most of that, when I'm not wearing it, is stored in the side cases. Occasionally, I might keep one item, you know, in a top case, like additional gloves or something, just for easy access. And one final note on what I'm going to call riding gear is this bag. It's a tank bag, I'll call it, that I created myself for the front. I have a video on this. Inside of this, I keep a water bladder. So it's 2 liters of water that I keep in here. It has the hose that comes out. It's not here right now. That hose I can pick up while I'm riding and drink. And that's super critical, especially in these areas of desert where it's very hot and the wind is blowing constantly, so it's just drawing the moisture right out of your body all day long. So it's very important to keep drinking while you're riding. You really don't have time to stop and take a sip and move on. You need to be drinking all the time. It also has a pouch in here where I keep a microfiber rag so I can wipe my helmet if I get a particularly big bug on it or something. I can also keep in here, as I'm entering a national park, I can keep my national park pass in here. When I need to fuel up, it has connections like this for the top, but I undo those, unbuckle those, flip it down like that, and then I have access to the fuel. So let's talk about tools now. I want to be self-sufficient on the side of the road, but I also don't want to bring an entire toolbox with me. But there are certain things that I prioritize. Tires, for example. I want to be able to fix a flat tire on the side of the road. If the bike tips over for some reason or I get in an accident, I do want to be able to remove some of the fairing, whether I need to just throw it out or get underneath for some reason. I want to be able to do that. And if there's a problem that pops up on the dash, a code or something, it would be nice to be able to read that to know whether it's something I need to address or whether it's something I can ignore until I get back home. So these two bags comprise my tire kit. Sometimes I'll keep them in the top case. Sometimes I'll keep them in a side case depending on circumstances. This bag right here just has a mini compressor so I can inflate a tire if I need it. Now, some people like the battery-operated mini compressors. I chose not to go that route. So this connects to the bike's battery, and I do that with this SAE pigtail cable, which is connected directly to the battery. So I can power the compressor by using this. And the reason I prefer that is that if you have a battery-powered compressor, you may run out of battery before you've got your tire inflated, or if it's something you need to do repeatedly, that battery may wear down. So this allows me to use the bike battery. And in the other bag, I have all of this stuff. So I have a pair of pliers, which is actually not that long, so I can get a nail or screw out of a tire if I need to. I have the valve core tool, and I have additional valve cores if I need them. I have a tire gauge right here. And this little kit just has all the tools you need to put a plug in, including the cement and the plugs themselves. All that fits in this bag, which is really not that big. Now, under the seat, I keep some tools that I hope not to have to use. So those are the GS911 scan tool, which just happens to fit under here very nicely, so I just keep that there. I've never had to use it on the road, but remember, I do have my laptop and a phone with me, so I could use this to scan the bike if an error comes up and I just need to know if it's something critical or not. And then I have this little pouch right here, which has a whole bunch of tools in it. So I have enough tools here where I could, if necessary, remove the front or the rear wheel in an emergency. So let's say I need to leave the bike somewhere, take the wheel with somebody's help to a place to get a new tire, and then return. I could put the tire on myself. So I have this specialty tool here for the front axle bolt to get that out loose, and I have a ratchet, which, you know, it would take a little effort, but I could use it. For the rear wheel, I have the right Torx driver, and I have an extension. I could get the rear silencer off as well. And the other things you'll see here are the Torx drivers. I have actually a whole bunch of them here, where I could remove all of the fairing if I needed to. I have some more in here, some drivers in here. Also a little tiny ratchet wrench, which I love. And I have the little wrench they give you to get the oil fill out. So I have enough here to get things apart to a degree. But beyond that, if it's really bad, you know, I may just have to get a tow somewhere. And two other tools I keep are a flashlight under the cover right here, and I do typically keep a pocket knife buried in here if I ever need it quickly. Now, I guess related to tools, I will consider this, which is a bottle of a liquid that I can use to spray on my visor, on the windshield, and a microfiber rag or two. I usually keep them in a plastic bag, sometimes in the top box if I'm using it frequently, sometimes in a side box. And the liquid is this stuff. It's McGuire's Waterless Wash and Wax. It's a very mild cleanser, and you can use it on just about anything. So a bottle like this is usually enough for the entire trip if I use it sparingly. And then at a hotel, overnight, sometimes there's dew on the windshield, and I'll use that to help me get bugs off and things like that. But having this is really nice, especially for the visor and the windshield. All right, we talked about street clothes, we talked about riding gear, we talked about tools. What I want to turn my attention to now is the top box. And this is a special area for me because it's the place I can get to most easily, most quickly. So I will keep things in here that I will use frequently. So there are some things I will keep in here permanently, but I also like to leave space so that, let's say I stop to pick up some food or something, I have a place to put it, you know? Or if I need to take off a riding jacket quickly and just throw it somewhere, I have enough space in here where I can just throw it in there temporarily until I deal with it later. Now, right here is the tire kit that we just talked about, so I may put that in the side case if I need more room in here. This bag right here, I keep just packaged food. So there's some trail mix, some granola bars, there might be some other things in here. So if I stop in the middle of the day and I'm just hungry, I need something to pick me up, that's right here, easy to get to. Even though I have water in the front, I also keep a water bottle here, or sometimes I'll stop at a gas station and get a bottled iced tea or something like that. So I have space to keep that in here. And because everything is packaged in bags, even if this were to leak a little bit, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Now this little bag right here, I'll call it creature comforts. So the things I have in here are like chapstick, some cough drops. I might keep some ibuprofen in here if I'm having a bad day. And I'll keep my reading glasses in here, sunglasses. So these are things just for creature comfort. And I know it's all going to be in this bag. So if I'm having a struggle with something, I can just reach in this bag and get it quickly. While I'm on the subject of creature comforts, I also keep a baseball cap in here. I don't have one to show you right now, but when I get off the bike and take the helmet off, maybe I'm walking around for a little bit or whatever, it's nice to have a baseball cap in here just to cover your head so you don't burn your head. And two other things I'll mention which may be kept in this bag or separate are earplugs. I do, my hearing is badly damaged from riding motorcycles, but also from a brain tumor that I have. So it is important to me to protect what's left of my hearing. So I do keep these on hand. These are foam earplugs. And I'm sorry to say this is the case, but I do keep masks on hand now. So I had an experience on one cross-country ride where we had to ride the last 4 days. It was brutal with COVID. At the time, we didn't know we had COVID. There was no doctor, there's no pharmacy to stop at. We were in the middle of nowhere. We knew we were sick, but we didn't know exactly what it was. So that was a brutal, brutal riding experience. So since then, I make sure I keep masks available. I don't wear them everywhere I go, but you know what? If I stop somewhere and I see the locals wearing a mask, you're damn straight I'm going to take this out and wear one because I just don't want any part of it. Just recently, before this trip, there was a measles outbreak because a lot of people are not vaccinated. So again, if I'm riding through one of those areas that I know for a fact from watching the news has a measles outbreak, yeah, I'm going to wear a mask through there. I just don't want to be riding while I'm sick again. Now this larger bag right here is mostly about electronics. So I do bring a camera with me. In fact, the camera that I'm videotaping this right now is the one that I will typically bring. It's a Nikon Z30. It's not particularly advanced. I do have, expensive DSLRs that I own, but I don't like to bring those because they get banged around and it's just not necessary. So I have a camera space right here. The camera I'm using will go there. I do bring a GoPro camera, so I have some gear related to the GoPros as well as the camera itself and batteries. It has side storage right here that I can keep extra batteries and extra memory cards. And in the back of the bag here, I keep what's called a battery bank, I guess. It's basically just a little battery storage with USB connections. So when I'm using my communicators, sometimes, after 8 hours, they've run down. So I can quickly connect one of them or both of them to the battery storage here and charge them back up quickly. Same goes for the camera battery if it came down to it. So there's just a little extra battery storage there. Now you will notice that I do not have room to store my helmet when I make a stop. That just hasn't been a problem for me. So when I make a stop, maybe at a national park or at a gas station or whatever, I usually just keep my helmet, on the ground next to the bike or whatever. No one's ever stolen it. It's just never been a problem. The GoPro camera, by the way, has 2 attachment points. I have one right here in the handlebars, so you have that ram mount arm that comes up, and I have one that's fairly long, so I can mount that GoPro behind the windscreen if I wish and maybe tilt it one way or another. And I also have another mount here in the front that I made myself. This has, it's a mixed bag because it gives you great views, but the insects tend to get on the lens pretty quickly. So, there's a limit to how effective this is. When I have it in the front, I have a remote control that I can mount on the handlebars so I can control the camera remotely. But, I just have to watch how quickly the insects build up on the lens. The mounting point for my Zumo XT, made by Garmin, is right here. So I have the GPS mounted where I can easily see it. And honestly, I rarely look at the speedometer or the tach for that matter. It's mostly the GPS that I'm looking at. In the eastern part of the United States, many of the states use this Easy Pass, which is a device that allows you to pay a toll without stopping. So I have that mounted right here. That's worked fine. You may have noticed I have paracord wrapped around the top case mount here. That serves two purposes. One, when I have tie downs, it prevents scratching. And also, there are times when you might need cordage for various emergency purposes. And if I do need it, I could pull a knife out, cut one end here, and I have a whole bunch of cordage from both sides. So that's basically it. The dry bags are where I have my street clothes, laptop, things like that I will bring into the hotel. Side cases where I keep things that I need quickly, like a rain suit, different gear, some tools. Top case is where I keep things for convenience, where I can get at it quickly, and I keep extra space in there available so that I have something to use quickly if I need it. So if I can impart any sort of wisdom from this video, when you're on a cross-country, long-distance trip, the most important thing is to be comfortable and prepared on the bike as far as your gear. You want to have options, so no matter the weather, no matter the temperature, you have some kind of answer to what you're facing. Second to that, enough tools so you can be self-sufficient on the road as far as tires being punctured, maybe the ability to remove a wheel, and maybe remove some of the fairing in case you have an accident or something like that. But as long as you're prepared and comfortable for the actual ride, that's really the most critical thing.